Good to go? Okay. Guys, welcome to the first conversation for TicketSwap. We're discussing the future of ticketing ecosystems today. And we're here with Joost Aanen, Jasper Dijkstra, Marcelo Madueño or Madu, and Hans Ober. Hans, you're the CEO and co-founder of TicketSwap. Can you tell a little bit more about the company?
Well, we are 10 years in existence. We have a platform. TicketSwap is a platform where you can easily sell and buy second-hand tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we do that in a manner where we try to do it fair, safe, and work with organizers and ticketing companies together.
Okay. Madhu, you were a former corporate banker, am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
How did you make a switch to the entertainment and event industry? Because you're working for the Entourage group right now as head of event production, right?
Exactly. Like I started my career on M&A in JP Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe I think it was 12 years ago, I decided to go to show business because I saw the opportunity, I saw the market, and it was developing a lot in Brazil, growing at 50-70% rate every year. And I saw there were a lot of processes that could be done better. You know, talking about ticketing, you know, the Brazilian market is a very specific one and is a very tricky one. So like the development of technology throughout the last 10 years made a bunch of difference in how we plan sales and how we deal with promoters. And so like this conversation for us is like very productive and very, very helpful for our industry in particular.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your introduction.
Thank you for
and for telling us why you made the switch from a really different kind of industry into the event industry. Then let's go to Jasper Dijkstra.
Hi.
Hi, Jasper. You have over 12 years in ticketing,
Yes.
experience in ticketing.
Yes, thanks for pointing out I'm getting old.
I'm sorry. Maybe you started at an early age.
Yeah.
But currently you're self-employed, but you're starting a new job at November 1st. Am I right?
Yes, correct. Yes. So a little over 12 years ago, I started at TicketScript, which people from the Netherlands probably know.
Yeah.
We then more or less disrupted the online ticketing industry by attacking Ticketmaster, basically, which was great fun. I think at 2012, something like that, we introduced mobile ticketing at scale, so we were amongst the first to actually do that. And then after that, the adventure took me in different places, but amongst those were Eventbrite, CM.com, and recently Secutix. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Joost, you are the founder and CEO of Eventix.
Yeah.
Sounds like you and Jasper are competing.
Maybe in a way we are or we were. I don't know. I think currently there's not a lot of competition. And also when Jasper left TicketScript, I think we with Eventix kind of picked up where TicketScript left the market.
Well, can you elaborate for the people who are listening what the difference is between
the current position that Jasper has and ours?
Yeah.
Well,
they'll be between the companies Eventix and Ticketcounter.
Yeah, so the main difference is that Eventix focuses on more of a live entertainment industry, where Ticketcounter focuses on Jasper.
Yeah, you're right. Day recreation, we like to call it. So it's everything from zoos, musea, and amusement parks. Yeah. So it's also tickets, but it's a completely different vertical.
All right. And Joost, what made you decide to go work in this or be an entrepreneur in this specific field in the event industry?
It wasn't that much of a conscious decision. It was very much a project that started out also 7 years ago, and that kind of dragged us along to where we are now.
Mm-hmm. All right. Are you happy where you are right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Hans, I know that you started TicketSwap when you were still in university. Were you trying to solve a problem as a visitor or as a customer?
Yeah, as a student, I usually bought a few tickets because you were not in live contact with your friends all the time. So at a certain point, you end up with tickets left because the other friends also bought tickets, or you have no money or whatever, and then you decide to sell your tickets. And yeah, that was a mess. It was on Facebook event pages. People were scammed all the time. Prices rose way too high. So at a certain point, I thought, yeah, why isn't there something to facilitate resale? Then I looked online and searched for tools to do this, and there was not really anything except these websites where you don't want to go to buy or sell tickets. So I thought this is not where I want to be associated with. And then I drafted a plan, found two partners to build it with because I'm not an engineer.
Mhm.
And
So you were looking, you found engineers to actually build the software?
Yeah, the whole platform. So we built everything in-house, with my two partners. So that was for us also a really easy way to start without any capital, or made it very light to get off the start line.
Yeah, now we're here 10 years later.
Yes, so it's a big change since then.
Yeah. Madhu, you don't work in the specific field of ticketing. What is the current what is the current biggest challenge within ticketing from your point of view?
Well, the second-hand sales have always been a huge challenge.
Yeah, because of safety.
Yeah, mostly because safety. And you think about like a social context in a huge city like São Paulo. So you have 20 million people, they want to buy a ticket, and you have other cities around it. So 10 years ago, our reality was to have 150 promoters printing out all the tickets and giving them and on their hands, and then selling, like early birds. And after changing early bird to the first year, you would have to have these 150 people come to the office and like give you the old ticket and get the new ticket. And like reprinting a ticket was something really easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
So when you got to the door, you have this amount, like this ocean of tickets that were fake. And they also reinvented themselves, like the piracy industry. So they were able to print, holographic parts and like the counter light, UV
Same
stuff.
for money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like throughout the years, we were really close, really partners with the ticketing companies, and we took our local ticketing companies to places that they weren't before, because since we have like a local reach, we would say, no, we are using you guys because you're 100% online, to like very small cities that people are not used to go online and buying their tickets. They usually go to the ice cream store and they have the ticket there, so that's how they buy it, because they don't want to pay a convenience fee. So like this was 2012, 2014. Nowadays, people are a lot more used to it. But still, like the main challenge is the second-hand tickets, because most of the ticketing companies, they have like they issue like a PDF for your ticket, and you don't have where to put it in a safe place that you can exchange it, and like the original one is erased. So these guys, again, they get one ticket, they print out like 100 copies, and when we are at the events, we have to invest a lot of money in security and in police monitoring, because these guys, they keep saying like buy and sell tickets, and it looks like you're in a market. In the city market, someone's selling you fruit, but it's hundreds of tickets, and we still get it at the door, the turnstiles. Like, no, but I bought this ticket from this guy, he was right in front of us. So the communication process is really tough. We had to tell everyone via email, via the promoters, on the Instagram posts, like only buy the tickets through the official networks. If it's a promoter, the promoter is gonna sell via the app. Yeah. So like people are used to buying the physical ticket yet.
Thank you, Madhu. And do you also think it's hard for people to make a transition from physical tickets to like using an app?
It is. Like it was in the beginning, just because you had to pay for commission. Yeah. And when you went, like you live in the countryside, you don't want to pay for commission, because a lot of people don't really understand what is the convenience. It's not convenient. to pay the fee because you're already there on the internet.
Yeah.
Nobody's bringing you the ticket.
No.
That's
so
how
it's
they feel.
so it's more expensive actually to buy a physical ticket, you'd say, right? So
Yeah.
it's a little bit strange that the convenience fee is only online.
It is for us,
Yeah.
for the organizers,
yeah, I would
because
say so.
they don't sell with a convenience fee, but we have to pay them a commission.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's 5 to 10% more expensive.
yeah.
Do you think it would be more easier if the convenience fee is already calculated within the ticket price?
Sometimes we do it, but it's not a standard for the market. So sometimes if you're comparing some events that they are competitors, let's say, and one of them it's already has already the convenience fee built in, it looks like it's more expensive.
Yeah.
As just the first view.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was also changed in Europe a few years
Yeah.
ago. It's all prices are including everything, and you should see the price that you can that you have to pay to actually get the ticket.
This is the standard that our partners from Time Warp usually told us. Like this is how we do it. This is easier for the client to see the final price. And after the pandemic, a lot of ticketing companies, I think throughout the world, but in Brazil, of course, like they went bankrupt, or if they didn't, they are charging a small fee on top of everything. So it's not really common, I think, in Europe for you to do installments to buy a ticket. And in Brazil, you can do it sometimes up to 12 times.
Wow.
And there's fees incurring every month.
Yeah.
And we as organizers, we don't get it as installments. We get the money straight away. So there's a lot of cash flow from these companies that needs to be upfront for us just to keep the machine going. But there's also a lot of default. So sometimes these people buy the tickets via installments. They go to the events and they stop paying.
Yeah.
And then it's already over. How can you return the service?
And the ticketer takes the risk in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why they
100%.
go bankrupt in the
Yeah.
COVID time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have like a 10% risk
like a surcharge.
withhold. Yeah, the surcharge. Yeah, but after the event, they already release you. But sometimes people are still paying.
Yeah. Wow.
Do you guys recognize the challenges that Madhu was talking about?
Not really. I think the market in Europe is a little bit different. We actually never do installments with Eventix, so everything's paid in advance, in full. We also do a little bit of business in Central and South America, and we get the question often whether we can do installments. We've done it before, but then the bank takes the risk. Actually, and they do the processing, so it's installments on credit card, which in that case I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think it's really geographical as well, right? So maybe in Brazil, I wouldn't know, I've never done business there, but you could also have different ticketers ticketing one event, right? In the Netherlands at least, and quite close, you have exclusivity, right? So it's just one ticketer that sells your ticket, so that's maybe different. Then the installment bits, that's just a payment scheme, which you can do or not.
And often this is provided by the PSP instead of the
Exactly.
ticket company.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is PSP for the
The
people?
payment
who are
service
listening?
provider. So
Okay.
Klarna is a famous one for doing
Yeah.
this as a business model.
Yeah.
But I think the others also do this now.
Yeah. And then, coming back to your original question, so what's the challenge, right? I think it's bonkers that there's still so many e-tickets in the market, right? So an e-ticket is actually it's the word electronic ticket, but it's still a very static thing.
Yeah.
So as long as it keeps being static, there will be an opening for fraud, loss of data, whatever have you, right? So I think that's the core of everything that we are trying to solve here. So I know Eventix does, I know obviously TicketSwap does this, right? So to make this a lot more dynamic and more personal, so you eliminate all these fraud things. But again, I think e-tickets should die.
But the funny thing is, when we started 10 years ago, I think we kind of made some risk assessments, and the first thing we said, okay, if tickets start to live in an app ecosystem from an organizer or whoever creates this app and has its own ecosystem, that would be either a big risk or a big opportunity if we are the ones where you can do the resale, allowing the access for us for TicketSwap into that app ecosystem.
What was the risk?
if there's an ecosystem where tickets don't come out of an app, and normally you have a barcode that you can make a screenshot of, and now you have moving barcodes, rotating barcodes, or I think eventually it will move to NFC of your phone.
What is an NFC?
I don't know the
Near
translation,
field
but it's
communication,
It's like a token, right?
it's the like Apple Pay that communicates, like not Apple Pay, but at least
Near field communication.
Yeah, exactly.
NFC. Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah.
Because I don't know. Okay.
So this is what your PIN card was
Oh, so is it like the chip that's
the
in
chip
your...
that communicates with a computer without actually touching it.
Yeah, so I guess the challenge is more to link someone's access rights to their identity.
Oh yeah.
And NFC is a nice way. You can imagine, for example, your passport or your ID card becomes your ticket because it has an NFC chip, or your phone has an NFC chip, and you use this item that's tied to your personal identity. You use that for access. And something that TicketSwap does really well is being able to transfer that right of access to someone else's identity.
Without like, how do you say it? Without like privacy violations, or?
I think that's something that we have to maintain this security around privacy. That's our responsibility.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
How many tickets can a person buy in the platform? Is it limited by your ID number? How does it work?
It depends on the organizer or our client. They can determine how many tickets they want to limit to an order.
Okay.
Hans, what will ticketing look like in the next 2 years?
I think there will be a big transition from, like what Jasper already mentioned, just sending PDFs around. You see, digital forms of tickets, so moving barcodes, etc. In-app ticketing ecosystems coming up more and more and more. We are fully anticipated on that. So I'm also expecting that the partners that are on Eventix or other ticketing partners we have, that we can switch them to the closed ecosystem we can offer together with the ticketing provider they use. So tickets are not flying around anymore. It's just within a controlled ecosystem, which also allows organizers to understand much better who is also selling these tickets, who buys these tickets, who are these people, how can we adjust our marketing on that as well. And I think another thing is it also allows organizers to have much more control over people who buy tickets on purpose to sell them with the profit. And usually they wouldn't do that too much on TicketSwap because we kept the prices, but it would happen elsewhere. But if you close that off, then it's also a huge blow, I think, to the professional ticket touting market.
Do you agree, Jasper?
Totally.
Jasper?
Yeah, I think this closed bit is the most important part. There's different ways to solve this. I think what Hans just alluded to is it definitely makes sense. Without wanting to start a bullshit bingo here, but everything around blockchain is ideal for this as well, of course, right? The beauty of a blockchain is that everything is known, each step in the process is known. So with that, you would eliminate ticket scalping, fraud, or whatever have you, because each step is possible. And if you take that even one step further and thinking about smart contracts and whatever have you, then eventually the parties that actually take the risk for putting on the event can stay in control of the complete cycle. Then you could still include TicketSwap or whatever partners you want to have, but it's about the organizer that takes the risk, who also gets to make the decisions about what happens with those tickets. How much it can get resold, for how much. How do we divide the revenue that comes from that? So I think maybe not 2 years, I'm hoping 2 years, but that becomes much more reality.
So like more in 5 years, or?
Yeah, probably. One thing, at least from my experience, that the event industry is, we're always at the forefront of making new shows and making this really, really, really entertaining. But are we really, really innovative? I don't think so, if I'm being honest. If you look at the major sport clubs, or which actually hold events as well, it's just a game, right? On match, but it's an event.
Yeah.
And if you look how they approach ticketing, that's miles ahead of event ticketing. And
What's the difference?
they let technology in, I think, a lot more than we maybe do at events, and it's not, it's not anyone's fault, obviously, or whatever, but it's also related to budget, I think. So margins at events are so super small, and it's such high risk, and for some reason we got into this belief that selling a ticket should just do that, right? Selling a ticket at the lowest possible price. I don't think that's something that will help and spur innovation, of course.
No, that's quantity over quality, right?
Exactly. So that's really something that I call on to all event organizers to try and look at this differently, and start thinking about how the ways you can innovate, and actually, if it's about the money, make a lot more money.
Yeah.
And then look at, for example, as close as here, the football club Ajax. They are using blockchain technology for the last 2 years in a closed loop system, which everybody said, well, there's people here that are 70, or there's people from the fanatical side that will never go into an app. They all did it.
Yeah.
For the last 2 years. 2 million tickets were sold over the blockchain. Everything is registered. It's already there. So if there are event organizers are there that say, well, my audience would never do it, I would dare to challenge them on that.
Okay. Thank you, Joost. Do you think that the ticketing industry is doing everything they can to increase safety for fans?
As an industry as a whole, no, I don't think so. I think there's still ticketing companies making money of resale, and making money of like the fear of fraud, so to say. So I think as long as there's money involved and there's money being made on that, then they're not really incentivized to do everything they can. I know there's some ticketers that are working on mitigating the risk of fraud, absolutely. But it's some key players. Not everyone is involved in that.
You agree with I say Jasper, but it's obviously is Jasper. But do you agree?
You could call me Henk. It's all fine.
We're doing everything in English today, but we're with one man from Brazil and 3 people from the Netherlands. So if you hear some steenkolen English, charcoal English, and that's the reason why. But do you agree?
No, I definitely agree. Yeah. So I don't really have anything to add.
Okay. Madu, what is the organization that you work for, Entourage, currently doing to optimize safety for fans?
Well, the one of the first things that we did throughout the years was we didn't have any more physical tickets for a while, because we thought if there's no ticketing company that can provide this type of safety for us or for our customers, we're not going to sell it. So we waited and the solution came. So we're working close to TicketSwap right now. We still see some issues with how the consumer behaves. So in every post that we do on Instagram, we have some people trying to buy or sell. So we have a team inside that takes care of that. So we see a person trying to sell a ticket, we go and talk to them privately. Do you know about TicketSwap? Your ticket can be sold there. So this is how it works. And we have 100,000 people in our mailing list. So guys, this is TicketSwap. This is how it works. This is the process for you to uploading a ticket and selling it again. And it's
how do they respond?
People are learning, but it's a long it's a long way to learn. And you see that people that are very smart, they're the top of the pyramid. They still find it difficult to understand that you can sell in the secondary market. You were saying about blockchain. So we have 2 companies that are trying to work with us. They're more of investment banking type of corporations, but they want to sponsor our events. and they want to talk about cryptocurrencies, they want to talk about blockchain. And then I tell the guys, man, this is gonna take a while because we're trying to explain how to buy a ticket secondhand. And like, if you wanna explain how like a non-fungible token works, it's gonna take even longer. But in a way, you know, this is how we do it. It's very simple, but we avoid all types of piracy, you know, via communication, via ambassadors. Our brands are mostly related to big artists. So the biggest one, Sotrek Boa, has Vintage Culture as the top guy and has a legion of fans. So having a legion of fans, we had like, I think Europe is called Social Ladder or something like that. We had it like a similar one in Brazil, in like 1,000 ambassadors. Every time that we needed to, you know, spread some information about something, it's just like dropping the information to these people and they're gonna share to everybody. So it's like putting a good message through and betting that it's gonna work. It worked. If I look back 6-7 years with the physical ticket to the online ticket, so it's gonna work. I'm not sure how this is gonna become outside of the big metropolitan areas, because we always say that there's a Brazil that people will know if you go to São Paulo, if you go to Rio, but there's the Brazil of the countryside where people still want to go to the ice cream shop and buy the ticket.
Yeah, because I wanted to know how is digital payment in Brazil? Because I think in South America, it's the people are more used to just still pay with cash, right?
In South America, excluding Brazil, yes, Brazil has one of the most advanced digital payment systems in the world because of safety. So people were kind of scared of carrying a lot of cash.
Yeah.
So the financial markets kind of adapt. So I think for example, for me, the last time that I withdrew cash, it's been some months. Everyone pays with NFC, or we have Pix, which is a technology that you can pay from a bank to whatever bank in Brazil 24/7 through the weekends instantaneously. Yeah. This is something that the central bank developed.
It's like crypto, right?
It's like crypto, but like throughout bank accounts, and we have now this thing called open banking that some people, when they wanted to like dodge the financial system and like do some nasty things in one account and then close the account and go to the other, now they're all connected. Yeah. So if you want to open a new bank account, this bank is connected through all the networks, so it sees everything that you did in your history of having a bank account. So now, you know, for safety it's better, because when it comes to credit analysis, now they know that if you want to pay via installments, if you are, you know, owing 10,000 euros for someone else, but this bank didn't know because it was something completely a part of it, now they know everything.
Okay, thank you for your explanation.
Cool.
Hans, I would like to know, what are the innovations that TicketSwap is working on for the upcoming years?
First of all, of course, especially in this forum, making sure we are on the top end of the development side of things to make sure we can bring innovation with our ticketing partners, with our organization and promoter partners, to make sure we have these closed ecosystems. We can facilitate all the safe and easy resale in a way that's controlled by the organizers as well.
Is there something specific that you're working on? You can share with us, maybe?
I think in general we are moving towards becoming more of a platform for discovery for fans to go to as well. So it's kind of all kind of pieces to the puzzle that have to come together in the next few years. Yeah.
So it's more. It's also going to be a platform for people who haven't decided yet what events to attend. To
discover what is going on this weekend or next weekend.
Yeah.
We include a lot of primary ticketing APIs. So there's a big chance that if you are looking for a ticket, we have offering for second-hand and primary tickets. We make clear what is what, which also is sometimes a bit hidden. But we make that super clear and let the fans make the decision to buy what ticket.
And do the ticketing boys also notice that there's a switch between people going to a lot of events and people going to like lesser events but higher quality events or events that last longer, such as festivals? Or
yeah, I think things are always moving, and it's really difficult to determine in what direction. Obviously, we had a really strange period with COVID behind us, which closed down the market for about 2 years, and now we're definitely seeing different trends than we were seeing in 2019.
What is a different trend that you're seeing right now?
Well, there's different music genres that are popular. There's events that used to sell out within minutes that don't actually sell out anymore. So it's really difficult to pinpoint the reasoning behind in which way it's changing.
Yeah.
But it really makes clear that things are moving around. Obviously, in these 2 years, people got older. So if you'd have like a relatively old visitor base, you would have lost a lot of your attendees.
Yeah, I think that's super interesting, by the way, because in these 2 years of COVID, roughly 2 years, there's this whole mini generation that typically would go to their first event and then maybe join their brother or their friend or whatever, right? Yeah. And it stopped for 2 years.
Yeah, there's actually 3 years in between most events.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's even longer, indeed. So these people that now visit events for the first time tend to choose different type of events. What Joost just said. So I think that's one trend, and promoters need to basically reinvent themselves, because obviously there's very big brands out there that will always be okay-ish. But Joost just said they are sometimes struggling to get these tickets sold. So that's one. And I think the other big part that we see right now is people are, what's the word? They're buying their tickets later and later and later. Right? So before you might have bought your tickets for 3-4 weeks in advance, or when an event went on sale. Now you see it's a lot closer to the event, because people don't know what's going to happen. And
what I also see from our users, and that's of course a specific group, TicketSwap buyers and sellers, but you see that people tend to use see their ticket more as a standing reservation that they can easily get rid of.
Yeah.
That's something you see, some tickets being resold and resold and resold over and over again, and that just kind of proves that people just they're sitting at the table. Friends are going, I'm buying a ticket as well, and then they check their calendar and find out, I cannot go, or that happens a lot. And I think the younger generation, the younger they get, the more they tend to look at the tickets like a reservation they can get rid of easily.
And how are you innovating within the industry?
Myself, or
maybe as a self-employed man right now, but
no, don't worry. No, I think that there's a few things there. One, I apologize for sounding like a broken record, but I think everything around mobile ticketing and really leveraging this technology is super important, and I think everybody should do it. And at the other hand, I think really trying to get there's this notion or mention of distributed commerce, and actually this is actually what TicketSwap also does. I know Eventix does it as well, but it's basically going where your buyers are. So if they don't necessarily want to visit this website, then don't do it. If you're on whatever socials or whatever, if TicketSwap is your go-to platform, fine, right? But I think ticketers in general should be a little bit more open to that, and trying to again, distribute their commerce. So be where their clients are. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
I have 2 more questions left. I'm not gonna focus on anybody in particular. People are complex figures. The behavior we cannot always, I forgot the word, predict. We cannot always predict. Well, no, let me rephrase that. We cannot really predict what people are gonna do. Is there some kind of way we're able in the future to predict even better what might be possible in customer behavior in ticketing? Hans?
So you start with me with the most difficult question. I think, of course, you see, as a ticketing company, as an event, you collect more and more details over the behaviors of your fans, and I think with that you can in the future better predict what kind of tickets people would buy, what kind of prices they would accept. But there are maybe some strange correlations between artists and some festivals that you might not expect.
Mm-hmm.
For myself, for example, I've been to Adele, but also go to Awakenings. I don't think that's going to be a huge correlation, but you do see some friends of mine also like it and also go to Awakening. So maybe you maybe can find some of the more of these correlations that help tech to help fans to find help fans to find the tickets they actually really want.
Okay. Joost, I think making mistakes is a good thing because we learn from our mistakes. What was did you make any mistakes in your career, and what was the mistake you learned most from?
Good question, yeah, and thanks for that one.
I'm glad she's
There's no shame in the mistake game.
No, I think you learn through mistakes indeed, and we always say if you don't make mistakes, you don't make anything at all.
Yeah.
It depends on where you make the mistakes, though. So there's areas where you can afford mistakes and where you are allowed to experiment. So that's where you should try to learn fast by making a lot of mistakes. And there's also areas where mistakes can be very costly.
Yeah.
In terms of ticketing, that usually means uptime in the shop. So any mistake you make that causes the shop to go down, meaning it's not accessible for ticket buyers all over the world. Those are expensive mistakes, and we try to make as little of those as possible.
Yeah, but of course you're still a human, so.
Well, it's been a long time ago since we experienced downtime.
You don't want to make these kinds of mistakes.
No, so that's why we are very careful when developing on core systems. And outside of core systems, we build what we call modules, where we are freely allowed to experiment, do cool stuff.
Yeah.
And also always with the side note, this is experimental. That's why it's like way ahead, and that's why it's cool.
It's like
but it's not guaranteed to.
It's
not guaranteed to work perfectly all the time.
Yeah. Jasper, do you have anything to share with us?
I think in general, coming from a ticketing standpoint, then I think a lot of companies, at least I'd worked for, did this try to be innovative, right? And are trying to push features that, this is the next big thing, only to realize that they didn't really listen to their clients. I think Eventix is another example of doing this the right way. It's funny because we've been competitors for a long time, and
it's nice to hear this. Really nice to hear this.
Business-wise, we might not really like each other personally. It's a different story, I think. But what Eventix does really well is really listen to their organizers, and I think TicketSwap is doing this the right way as well, right? So really stay very close to your clients and understand what they need, because if you're just building crazy expensive features that might be very relevant for your peace of mind, but nobody is using them, then it's a little bit too expensive development probably.
Yeah. So
I think if that's a mistake, maybe. So you should listen a little bit more to your end user. Let's put it like that.
Okay, sounds really important. Madu, last tiny question because we have to wrap it up. Do you have, from your point of view and in your job field, any advice for Hans, Joost, or Jasper?
That's something that I was actually thinking about when we talked about the future. So I know the knowledge. There's a lot of knowledge within the platform. So something that I always missed on seeing is that putting that knowledge into insights for the organizers. As you said, like I might like Adele, but I might like as well to go to Awakenings. We don't see these advices coming to us, and this is easily the build. Oh, no, I don't know if it's easy to build, but I know there's a lot of data there for the ticketing platforms to say like this amount of people that go to your event, they also go to these other types of events, and they usually pay this average ticket price for the other events. So like this is helpful for you to do your for your pricing and to be connected to other cashless solutions where you know like when people are spending most during the night. You know, there's a survey that says that 50% chance 50 is like throwing a coin, but like it's 50% chance that the first drink that you're gonna take during the night is gonna be the same drink that you take throughout the night. And this came from Bex, our sponsor, and they understood that throughout the technology of cashless. So I think there's still a lot for us to understand. You know, if we start an event early, if we finish early, how is the behavior of consumption? If it's winter, if it's summer, if it's open air or enclosed spaces. I think there are a lot of insights and tips that we're still in the dark. In collaborating more with you guys and with these other solutions, cashless mostly, I think we're gonna be better prepared to serve our clients.
Right, Hans?
Yeah, super useful. I'm glad this is recorded so we can listen back and build this. I think for me often it has been a challenge to find the right data needs and the insight needs from our several organizer friends. So I think this is very particular and very helpful. So thank you for that. And we're gonna definitely look at how we can realize some of the things because we cannot see the live data.
Yeah,
I also think it really relates to the ecosystem subject, right? Because we're talking about combining cashless data with the ticketing data, with the marketing spend, and getting that information together, and then making recommendations based on that combined data set. And that's, I think, where you are, what you're looking for as an organizer, and that requires a lot of collaboration between these different providers, whether it's cashless, ads, or ticketing.
All right, I have to cut you guys off right now because we're over time, but I want to encourage you to continue the conversation after the podcast recordings. And maybe exchange some more insights about sharing data for the customer experience. I want to thank you, Joost, Jasper, Madhu, and Hans very much for giving your insights and your tips about this specific subject. And I want to wish you a very fruitful and successful ADE. Thank you very much, and thank you everybody in the audience. Are there any questions from the people in the audience? Oscar, tell us.
So, quick question on the because I heard blockchain, which is kind of a hype magic word these days. Although I believe that like the tokenization of ticketing is already happening, because when you look at the integration between Eventix, for instance, with TicketSwap, you have something called sealed tickets, which basically means that there's no barcode, and it's like sealed, so it's within a closed ecosystem, which is already kind of what the objective is of working with blockchain, right? So do we actually need a blockchain, or can we work on this closed ecosystem based on the technology that's already there?
Can I react to that?
Of course.
I think a blockchain is a kind of database that works as a ledger system. And the cool thing about a blockchain is that it's public, so it can be shared between different partners that can tap into that. So you have the same information as that I have. But it's not required to make a ledger of ownership, right? So we register who is the owner of a ticket, and whenever TicketSwap asks us who the owner is, and they tell us that the tickets has been sold, we register a new owner on this right of access. So I think blockchain technology is a really cool method or a really cool example of how a ledger system works in an open environment, but it's not necessarily required. It's already happening in databases and in collaborations between partners that actually has the same effect and works in a quite similar way.
Does that answer your question, Oscar?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank everybody for participating in the future of the ticketing ecosystem subject, and have a very pleasant day today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.